guys, and welcome back to Gabbin with Jessa. Today's video is going to be my February TBR, countdown to the Olympics TBR. I know that the Olympics are supposed to still be happening this year. I know there's been rumors that they might be pushed. Either way, I'm still continuing this series with all the books that I'm going to read for February. Now, I had a lot of books that I wanted to read in January, but I didn't really get to them, and these are all the ones that I was not able to get to that I had on my list, which include The Boyfriend Project, Trouble with Patience, Get a Life, Chloe Brown, The Wedding Date, The Worst Best Man, Cinderella is Dead, which is actually from my December TBR that I tried to roll over, Tweet Cute, The Toll, and The Starless Sea. Again, this was a December one that I tried to roll over for this month, or this past month as well, but it also did not work out. I'm gonna be putting up my February or my January wrap up of everything I read, so you'll figure out why I didn't get to all these books. So I'm gonna try to roll them over to this month as well, but that is also a lot of books, so you know what, we'll just see what happens. Also, there were two ebooks, now that I think about it, that I also didn't read, and that was Real Men Knit and I Think I Might Love You. I'll add those on as a rollover, and we'll just see how everything goes. So last month we had the sport of table tennis, ping pong. That was the one that we focused on, and this month it's going to be gymnastics. Specifically artistic gymnastics, which is what most people think about when they think about gymnastics, but there's also rhythmic gymnastics, which is the ones where they do like a floor routine, but then they throw like a big ball in the air, or they do ribbons and rings and stuff. It's actually pretty cool. So like always, let's start with a little history of gymnastics and the Olympics. So gymnastics has been a part of the Olympics since it first began in 1896 in Athens, and then women were added on in the 1928 Amsterdam Olympics. Now those are both artistic gymnastics, but rhythmic gymnastics for women was added in 1948 at the Los Angeles Games. But what we're mostly focusing on, or at least the inspiration for this video, is the traditional artistic gymnastics that you think of when you think of gymnastics. So like Simone Biles, for example, everything she does. So both men and women participate, but they both have different events that they participate in. For example, all the women's events is that there is team and individual all around, which means that they participate in all the events that I'm about to list as well, which include the floor exercise, the balance beam, the vault, and the uneven bars. Men also have an individual and team all around, but they have different events, some the same, some different, and this includes the floor exercise, horizontal bar, parallel bars, the pommel horse, rings, and the vault. So a wrap up of our 2016 Rio Olympics for all the gold medals. Team USA won for the women's team all around, and Simone Biles won gold medals in the individual all around, the vault, and the floor exercise. Aliyah Mustafina from Russia won the gold medal on the uneven bars, and Sane Weavers from the Netherlands won the gold medal on the beam. Now switching over to the men, Team Japan won for the men's all around, and then Kahoi Vohimara from Japan won the men's all-around gold medal. Max Whitlock from Great Britain won the gold medal in the floor exercise and the pommel horse. Fabian Hambuchin from Germany won the gold medal in the horizontal bar. Olg Vinayer from the Ukraine won the gold medal in the parallel bars. Eleftherios Petroyes from Greece won the gold medal in the ring event, and Ri Segwon from North Korea won the gold in the vault for the men. So there was a lot of variety, different countries winning the different events. I know the main person talked about, at least on the women's side, was Simone Biles, but she did walk away with 4 total gold medals, which is amazing. But yeah, so what I'm gonna do, as you can kind of see behind me here, is that this is like my beam, and I'm just gonna try to like walk through or crawl through or something, grab a prompt, and yeah, I don't really have any gymnastics ability. That was all my mom. But yeah, this is the best that I could come up with because this was a little hard, but I still wanted to try to do gymnastics anyway. So let's get started. I'm going to pick 6 prompts, and then yeah, we'll see what books I pick from there. Okay, we have prompt number 1. Let's try to leave this. Okay. So the first prompt I got was intimidating read. And for this one, I'm going to read A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. I've been trying to pick this up for so long. I haven't even seen the TV show or anything. I really didn't have an interest in reading the book until I saw this mass market paperback, which I know aren't popular books for people to pick up. They don't really like mass market paperbacks because they're made cheaply, so you can make a lot of them. But I don't know. I just thought this was like very cute and adorable and small, and it makes it less intimidating, even though it is thick, but I don't know, it's shorter, so it makes it less intimidating for me. I even have the second one that I picked up in the same format, and I don't know why, because I haven't read the first one. I might hate it, but I'll just read the description on the back of the book, because a lot of these books, I don't really know much about them, so I'll just read the description. That way you learn about what it's about, I'll learn what it's about, and yeah, we'll have fun with it. In A Game of Thrones, George R.R. Martin has created a genuine masterpiece, bringing together the best the genre has to offer. Mystery, intrigue, romance, and adventure fill the pages of the first volume in an epic series sure to delight fantasy fans everywhere. In a land where summers can last decades and winters a lifetime, trouble is brewing. The cold is returning, and in the frozen wastes of the north of Winterfell, sinister and supernatural forces are massing beyond the kingdom's protective wall. At the center of the conflict lie the Starks of Winterfell, a family as harsh and unyielding as the land they were born to. Sweeping from a land of brutal cold to a distant summertime kingdom of Epicurean plenty, here is the tale of lords and ladies, soldiers and sorcerers, assassins and bastards who come together in a time of grim omens. Amid plot and counterplots, tragedy and betrayal, victory and terror, the fate of the Starks, their allies, and their enemies hangs perilously in the balance as each endeavors to win that deadliest of conflicts, the Game of Thrones. This is also high fantasy, and I haven't read high fantasy before. I've only read low fantasy, so that is another reason why it's intimidating for me, besides the page size, because it's like over 800 some pages. But you know what? I think it's finally time to tackle it, and so that's why I'm putting it on for intimidating read. Okay, prompt number 2. And for this prompt, I got unfamiliar genre. The next prompt was unfamiliar genre. And for this, I'm going to be reading Outlawed by Anna North, because this is a Western book, and I don't think I've read any Western before. I was supposed to last month, but I didn't get around to that. So this is my January Book of the Month pick from this past January, and it sounded interesting to me. It is kind of small, so that's always a good thing if I'm trying to read a lot, but let's just read this inside flap and see what it says. In the year of our Lord, 1894, I became an outlaw. The day of her wedding, 17-year-old Ada's life looks good. She loves her husband, and she loves working as an apprentice to her mother, a respected midwife. But after a year of marriage and no pregnancy, in a town where barren women are routinely hanged as witches, her survival depends on leaving behind everything she knows. She joins up with the notorious Hole-in-the-Wall gang, a band of outlaws led by a preacher-turned-robber known to all as the Kid. Charismatic, grandiose, and mercurial, the Kid is determined to create a safe haven for outcast women. But to make this dream a reality, the gang hatches a treacherous plan that may get them killed, and Ada must decide whether she's willing to risk her life for the possibility of a new kind of future for them all. Featuring an irresistibly no-nonsense, courageous, and determined heroine, Outlawed dusts off the myth of Old West and reignites the glimmering promise of the frontier with an entirely new set of feminist stakes. Anna North has crafted a pulse-racing, page-turning saga about the search for hope in the wake of death, and for the truth in a climate of small-mindedness and fear. So that sounds really interesting. It's definitely a different kind of take on the classic Western story. So that's why I picked it up. It sounded interesting, and like I said, every now and then when it comes to Book of the Month, sometimes I pick books that I know I'm going to like a thriller or something easy. Like last month for December, I picked up In a Holidays by Christina Lauren because I knew I would like that because I'm enjoying the writing duo. But this one sounded different, and so that's why I wanted to pick it up, and I'm really excited for it. Prompt number 3. And this one is going to be TBR Veteran. Then after that, I picked TBR Veteran. And for that one, I'm going to read Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. This was my very first book of the month, actually, that I ever picked up from June 2020. It is a thriller book. I've heard nothing but great things about Riley Sager, and I've been wanting to get into him recently just because what I've heard from, whether that be criticisms, critiques, or positive reviews of what he writes, it sounds like something I would very much enjoy because I do enjoy the thriller genre. But if you don't know what this is about, let's read it. Bells that ring themselves, record players that turn on and play music to empty rooms, ghosts that climb out of wardrobes. Maggie Holt doesn't believe in these things, even though they are the details of the story that made her family famous. 25 years ago, she and her parents, Owen and Jess, moved into Banbury Hall, a rambling Victorian estate in the Vermont woods. They spent 20 days there before fleeing in the dead of night, an ordeal Ewan later recounted in a horror memoir, House of Horrors. His tale of ghostly happenings and encounters with malevolent spirits became a worldwide phenomenon, rivaling the Amityville horror in popularity and skepticism. Maggie has lived her life in the shadow of her father's book, so when she inherits Banbury Hall after his death, she returns to renovate the house to prepare it for sale. However, the homecoming is anything but warm. People from the past, chronicled in House of Horrors, lurk in the shadows, and locals aren't thrilled that their small town has been made infamous thanks to Maggie's father. Even more unnerving is Banbury Hall itself, a place filled with relics from another era that hint at a history of dark deeds. As Maggie experiences strange occurrences straight out of Ewan's book, she starts to wonder if what he wrote was more fact than fiction. Alternating between Maggie's uneasy homecoming and chapters from her father's book, Home Before Dark is the story of a house with long-buried secrets and a woman's quest to uncover them, even if the truth is far more terrifying than haunting. So that's really interesting how it's going to go back and forth between what's going on with her life and the chapters that her father wrote in the book. So that's really interesting. I actually didn't know that, so I'm excited for that, and this one should be good. Okay, prompt number 4. And this one is going to be poetry. The next prompt is poetry, and for this one I'm going to read Diamond in Hearts, a poetic memoir by Chris Siegfried and Desiree Hartstoff Siegfried. Desiree was the Bachelorette after appearing on Sean Lowe's season. She became the next Bachelorette, and this is mostly her husband that she found on the show. It's his book through like professional baseball and just finding Desiree on television and how his life came to be, but it's written in a poetic form. I've been wanting to pick this up for so long just because I love reading stories from people on The Bachelor and Bachelorette. I don't know why. It's like my guilty pleasure. I love it. And so I've been meaning to pick this one up for a while, and now I finally have the opportunity and the excuse to. So yeah, that's what this one's about. According to the Amazon review of it, or the description of it, with the encouragement from his family and new fiancée, Desiree Hartstock, he decided it was time to open his heart to the world. Diamonds and Hearts is your inside look into the heart of Chris, as he's pushed through professional baseball and through his recent journey to find love on national television. Each poem not only has a written synopsis explaining where Chris's heart was at the time of writing, but also the original piece from his journal. Plus, additional poetry by Chris's new fiancée, or now wife, Desiree Hartstock. So it's 44 poems with written synopses from both Chris and Des, heartfelt poetry about Chris's journey to find love, all original journal entries, Desiree's original poems to Chris written on postcards from around the world, and photos of them too, which is always fun. Okay, prompt number 5. And this one we have book with an animal. Next prompt was book about an animal or with an animal. And for this one, I'm going to pick up The Art of Racing in the Rain. This is a book by Garth Stein, and as you could tell, it was made into a movie starring Milo Ventimiglia. I don't really know much about this book. It just says, meet the dog who will show the world How to Be Human. So obviously it's going to focus on the dog and Milo. The back doesn't really have much except for just quotes of what people have said, but it says a heart-wrenching but deeply funny and ultimately uplifting story of family, love, loyalty, and hope. A captive look at the wonders and absurdities of human life as only a dog could tell it. So that sounds like it's going to be really cute. And again, it's not too long. I picked this up at Walmart because I knew the movie was coming out, and I don't know, I was just kind of drawn to it. So yeah, that's what this book is, and I'm excited to pick this up. It sounds like it's going to be a good book and an easy read too, or maybe not like easy because it sounds a little sad, but just something I know I'll be able to get through relatively quickly, and it is pretty small, so that'll be a good one to have as well.
And last prompt number 6.
Oh, no. And this one is going to be highest rated on Goodreads. And finally, the last prompt I picked was highest rated on Goodreads. And when I was looking around on my Goodreads, a lot of them were just a variation of My Hero Academia, like the newer ones of the new volumes have come out, but I don't want to skip ahead. So I'm just going to say My Hero Academia Volume 12 is going to be counted as that because it's all within the same series. And since a lot of the books were taking up, we're taking up the top spots, I'm like, this is good enough, and I know I'm definitely going to get to this. I like to read these in between big books because they're just a lot of fun. So let's see here. I don't think if I read this description, it'll give away anything of what has happened so far. So Class 1A is working on developing their ultimate moves, a process that will test their strength and creativity in all new ways. To help them out, Mei Hatsume, a student from the support course who we saw in some of the earlier volumes like 5 and 6, is brought in to develop improvements to their costumes. The attention from May might be more than Midoriya can handle, but he'll need every edge he can get to pass the next hurdle for the students of UA, the provisional licensing exam. So that's going to be fun. I love reading these books. These are mangas, so they're just a lot of fun to quickly get into and read, and so I know I'll definitely be able to read this one. I'm also reading 2 other books, one for the Interstellar Book Club. You know, we're doing the Wayfarer series. We just did our live show for the first 2 books on Strawberry Lemon Books, Matt's Melody's channel, so go check her out. I'll have the video linked down below along with her channel and Max's channel and Steph's channel as well. So we're going to be continuing in the series. Originally, we were going to read the next 2 books, books 3 and book 4, but unfortunately, because of everything that's going on, book 4 was supposed to be released in the UK at least for mid-February. So we all decided to pick the February date instead of the US release date, which was in April. But because of that, and like I said, everything going on, we wanted to make sure everyone was going to be able to get their books. So we're pushing book 4 back to the month of March. So we're going to read it in March. And then for February, we're just going to read the 3rd book, Record of a Spaceborne Few by Becky Chambers. And that's going to be our book to read then. I'm also doing a buddy read with someone from the Interstellar Book Club who was just in the chat. She's like, hey, does anyone want to read any of these books? And I'm like, yeah, I'll read one. Sounds like fun. And we're going to be reading the Secret Diary of an Arranged Marriage, which sounds really interesting. I know it's available on Kindle. That's what this user said. And so I'm ready to pick it up, start reading, and you know what? Just have a good time with it. But yeah, those are all the books I'm going to read. Let's look at these again. Yep, so I got these. Plus the poetry book, Diamonds and Hearts. Plus I'm going to, attempt to read some of these that I didn't get to read last month. So yep, that's it for me today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know what you're reading this month. If we have anything the same or different, if you're joining the Interstellar Book Club, let me know as well down in the comments below. And like I said, don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, keep on gabbing.